my space nerds. There has been a legendary question posted to Spectrum. Is CIG trying to fully kill AC for new players? This is a question that gets asked, I think, every few years. Because AC, or Arena Commander, is a weird part of Star Citizen. I'm going to take you through a little bit of what this game is, or rather what this mode of Star Citizen is, what it was supposed to be, how they full-on contracted entire companies to work on it that eventually did not get them released, and where we're going with this overall. There's an update coming to 4.10, coming from the Mr. DJ Bunton himself, the guy who stuck around actually from this company to keep working on it at CIG, where he explains a little bit of what's going on with the mode. So I'm going to take you through the wild ride of Arena Commander. Let's start off first with a little explainer from the man himself.
Arena Commander is this game within a game, which lets us take these super fun, awesome moments that we've all experienced in the PU and get them down into this short, fun snippet of 10, 15 minutes, hop in, hop out.
I think the most fun about Arena Commander is that you get to just jump in and play the game that you want to play. You don't have to spend time collecting all the stuff that you need to go out. You just pick a thing and you start playing it.
It lets people get down and dirty without the repercussions that you experience in the PU.
Is it possible for Arena Commander to help the development of Star Citizen?
Yes, it can be used for testing things that aren't quite in the PU yet, but will be soon. And it can be used for testing things that are already in the PU.
As we get closer and closer to Death of a Spaceman, it becomes a vital part of everyone's time in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Be it you just want to practice your flight controls, you want to practice racing, you want to get better at dogfighting or FPS combat, you should be looking at Arena Commander to practice these things so that you don't lose everything when you do it.
So this is a pretty obvious kind of thing a game like this should have. What he said makes a ton of sense. They have this game where they're trying to make death matter. You can go and look up the different Death of a Spaceman. I actually have a video coming out about this that will, I think, hopefully make people a little less scared of this mechanic, because it's really not that bad. But there is a whole page from 2013 that explains the original concept of it. It's obviously changed, but the idea behind it is like, you're supposed to at least consider death. You know, don't throw your life away. They're not going to end your whole gameplay session just because you died, but they also want you to do things based around the fact that your character is at risk. So the idea that they want us to then go into all these battles and fights and like use these weapons and bombs and stuff and also fear for our lives, it begs the question, is there a way to do this without, you know, getting ruined every time you die? You don't want something that's going to ruin your reputation or the way that you play in the future. So Arena Commander was, from what I understood, made to kind of be this introduction to the game, introduction to real life, or not real life, but like life in the verse, and to the ships. This is the first trailer they released for 1.0 all the way back when it came out, I think 2014, possibly 2015. The old Avenger. The old Hornet. The other old Hornets. All the old ships, dude. The trailers used to be so much less flashy. That's kind of feel good, not gonna lie. Like it's sort of campy. I hope I don't get copyright for it. So that was the launch trailer of Arena Commander. You could tell it's really just meant to be a simulation where you're going around and fighting things. And in my mind, the number one thing CIG could do to help Star Citizen is releasing Arena Commander as a standalone game on Steam for free, and then letting people earn stuff in Arena Commander that unlocks in Star Citizen. But they have been very confusing about the point of this, how it's supposed to work, what the goals of it are over the years, and I think really that's for the same reason that Star Citizen's been confusing, because they don't have the money to put towards it. So let's talk about how this has gone. First up, the question that was asked that got this whole conversation started by Link. He was saying basically that he downloaded the patch, and the rental cost of the Arrow, the Connie Andromeda, and the M50 is not 0 REC. It is now starting at pretty similar amounts to what you start as a player. You get 30,000 credits, rental credits, that are only available to be used in Arena Commander. You can't use UEC, so you have to earn these credits, and you get these credits when you start out an account, but not that many. And basically the argument here is you should be able to just get in the game and unlock any ship in Arena Commander so that you can go and fly them, test them out, see how they work, and maybe even buy more. He says here, I don't know where he says, but he's talking about free rentals and how it can get people to stick around. Unlocking stuff in there is beneficial to the player, and a lot of people might come into this version of the game, try out a ship, and then decide to buy it in the PU. I agree. I think that Arena Commander is a great way for people to try the game out and get to see what it really feels like to fly and to practice. And there's continued discussion here saying rentals in Arena Commander feel awful to begin with. The progression in Arena Commander is in player skill, not in the REC grind. REC is just an annoyance, not a part of the reason people go to Arena Commander. I also kind of agree with this. I mean, there needs to be some economy in Arena Commander to build, I think, some level of progression beyond player skill. Like, yeah, player skill is part of it, but it should be its own standalone game. And CIG wanted it to be. We're going to get to that here. But let's scroll down real quick to see what Bunton was saying about this. He said, "Hi all. Thanks for bringing this to my attention. This was indeed not intended. An update is being pushed to the AC shop service now. I go into more detail below." He said, "Our intent is for one vehicle of each role listed below to be available in Arena Commander for free. The following vehicles will be free once the service update is live. This includes the Gladius, the Paladin, the Razor, the Hover Quad, and the C2 Hercules Starlifter. You'll also still have free stock tank and Gravlift for game modes for these. Bearing are also sponsoring Arena Commander this season, featuring some of their ballistic weapons for free across the update. This includes the Bearing Pistol, Shotgun, P8SC, P8AR, FS9, and P6 LR Sniper Rifle. Reminder to check out Single Weapon Elimination each patch to get hands-on with the new weapons and gear. When the service updates, the following vehicles will be available for rent when they weren't officially, or where they weren't previously. This includes the Hull B, the Aurora Mark II, the Hermes, the Apollos, the Perseus, Salvation, Clipper, Golem Ox, MDC, UTV, L-22 Wolf, Paladin, Stinger, and Shiv. AC rentals now also persist across patches. Reminder that you can extend the rental to keep them longer. I also want to reiterate that we are not a fan of the rental system in its current state. Whilst that menu being flashed does limit things somewhat, this just continues to hurt them freaking half a decade after we were talking about it getting left behind. I will be investigating quick ways to improve the system for 4.10. One example being having a much longer initial rental period. For now, my team is primarily focused on supporting the PU and SC 1.0 with some pretty cool and important features like transport, radar and scanning, instancing, and soon freight elevators and hangars. So you can know that the AC Arena Commander won't be getting as much work when things like these need a lot of work to function. All this stuff. He said, but I will be reviewing some of the top issues in AC and seeing if there's anything we can do to make the experience better. So even with these things going on, Bunton is trying to get on the job to address the Guardian Key, QI, I still don't know what the heck this is called, and the MX for rentals. He said he'll address this in 4.10. Feel free to tag him anytime on anything missing in AC, whether it is for vehicles or equipment. Now that he's learned the shop service, he could take care of these things going forward. So DJ Bunton is on the job. He's working on this, but I gotta say, it is interesting seeing this and knowing the story behind how DJ Bunton was brought into this. let's go back to that video that we looked at earlier about this being remade and let the team introduce themselves.
In the PU. Last time on ISC, we talked about all the things that we wanted to do and we were currently working on. The whole laying the foundations idea that we just needed to hunker down, get these refactors done so that we can start working on some amazing content which we have lined up. Now I'm glad to be in ISC again to talk about that content which we have been working on since. Before we get started, I want to shout out the team. I've got a list here so I don't forget anyone. We've got Adam, Adrian, Bryn, Corwin, Kirk, Mark, Ricky, Samuel, Sean, hi Sean, and Simon, all working extremely hard, and everyone else and all the other teams that have been extremely helpful in helping us get to where we are today. So let's take you through the flow from the beginning to the end.
All right, so this is DJ, Mr. Bunton, and he joined the Arena Commander team as CIG contracted a company called Firesprite to get working on Theaters of War. This is going to take us back. We're tugging on a string here. This is supposed to be a news update, but it's turning into kind of a deep dive. Let me just give you a quick look at Theaters of War. So this is from the presentation they did, I think, at CitizenCon 2019. They showed off what Theaters of War was.
Watch each other's back and come home in one piece.
They really should have included the game audio for this because it's just not being there really takes away from the experience. Riveting. If you can't tell what this is, imagine Battlefield 2042, but with more jank and more vehicles. It's essentially large-scale, match-made PvP in a kind of arena format, but it is objectives-based. So you have to take certain places and go through phases and slowly push the enemy back in kind of an asymmetric attack and defend mode, at least for this mode. And the idea is, well, I mean, really, to me, it's Battlefield 2042. So once you finish that phase 1, you have to go to phase 2 where one team is defending I think like the satellite array or something, and the other team is attacking it. Interestingly, you'll see that the stuff that they were using here is actually from the Hathor facilities. This was part of the, this was used as part of the chance to reuse assets for some of the content they were releasing in 2025, which is why they were able to add so much content without having to completely destroy their workflow. They already had stuff existing for it.
All teams,
so once that phase is done, they then have to go up to take out the mining laser from above. This is the part that really feels kind of Battlefield 2042 or like Battlefront to me. And it takes advantage of everything Star Citizen has. The fact that you can transition from planet to space, no loading screens, the fact that there are space stations with gravity and spaceships with multi-crew capabilities and turrets and FPS and all this stuff is like, yeah, there's not many games that can pull this kind of thing off. And so people were fairly excited for at least some kind of consistent gameplay that you could load into quickly and not have to deal with the jank of Star Citizen and have an objective that felt like it performed fairly well. Got people excited. And even though they kind of shipped it as, or kind of sold it as this testing opportunity for Star Citizen because they couldn't test the big ships or the tanks or any of that kind of stuff in the PU, for obvious reasons, I still think this is a great standalone game, if it could be a game. But as you can see from this page, the company that they got to come on and work on it never delivered. I mean, they delivered what they probably could, but the actual project didn't work out. It says, delivering in line the vision of a combined arms mode with within the Star Citizen universe, Firesprite collaborated closely with Cloud Imperium to create and develop Theaters of War, an intense combined arms combat split into distinct phases, with teams of attackers and defenders fighting for control over multiple objectives on the planet's surface in the early phases with infantry vehicular combat, before taking the battle into the upper atmosphere for control of a facility in a geostationary orbit. And then it goes on to say, Theaters of War is no longer presently in development at Firesprite. For more information, please head over to the Star Citizen website. So this was the last major update I think we got about this. This is 2023. And this is really Sean Tracy, who's, he was presenting Theaters of War. And I think the last two who were presenting about Theaters of War, really explaining what's going on with it. I don't know, though. It hasn't gone very many places in the last year. Okay, this is a little bit, yeah. September 8th, 2023 is really the last bits we heard about it. So this is an interesting update that he's coming in and actually giving us an update on it. And hopefully it does get somewhat regular updates. But I really think that this mode is suffering because they just can't put the resources towards it. I think this could be a great tool for them to get people into Star Citizen in the future. But for now, I'm not going to say that they're trying to fully kill it. But I don't think CIG is putting the most into trying to keep it alive. Either way, a little deep dive into what's going on with Arena Commander.